Happy Friday, Hokie Nation. We appreciate you spending your afternoon with us. Giovanni Heater joined alongside Nick Brown with you, coming to you from the Corporate Research Center right here in Blacksburg, Virginia. Our final show of the week, we're talking Virginia Tech men's and women's basketball. Men's before the break, women's after the break. We got you. Coming up next, TSL Today on a Friday. Friday, December 2nd, and no matter which way you look at it, it's getting to be Christmas time here in Blacksburg and across the country, so very excited about that. And that means it's prime time for basketball season as well as we gear towards the end of the non-conference, start to head into conference play. Virginia Tech opens up ACC play against the North Carolina Tar Heels on Sunday inside Cassell Coliseum. Everybody's juiced for this basketball game. We're going to get into it, but first let's preface it with the fact that at halftime, they've officially announced that they will be honoring the Virginia Tech football seniors inside Cassell Coliseum. You know, as much as we'd love to be in Lane Stadium and get the true senior day effect, it's still beautiful that they are going to do that for them.
Yeah, and it'll be good. It's really a darn shame that Dax Hollifield won't have a senior day in his career at Virginia Tech, but it'll be good. It'll be a juiced environment. Everybody will be happy to see him again and to send him off. It'll be different, and I know that they'll do it upright. I'm sure that they have something really special planned. So, and I don't know what the previous halftime show. I'm sure it was one of the bigger ones planned for the halftime shows throughout the season, since it was one of the biggest games.
What I think Red Panda was Duke, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Duke or UVA.
Okay.
So fortunately we get to see Red Panda. But no, I'm excited, and it'll be good for them to go out there. Of course, like you said, it's not Lane Stadium, but it's next best thing, and it's a big game in Cassell. It's not like playing Longwood or something. No offense to Longwood, but you're not UNC, so
right.
It'll be a good time.
Well, a massive 3-game stretch coming up for the Hokies. They got North Carolina Sunday, and then they'll play Dayton at home inside Cassell before going up to Brooklyn. Returning to Brooklyn for the first time since winning that ACC championship, and they'll play Oklahoma State in the Basketball Hall of Fame Invitational there. But let's talk about this UNC matchup coming up on Sunday. 18th ranked Tar Heels, but they have suffered a loss since then. In fact, they've lost 3 in a row. These were the top-ranked dogs in the country coming into this season, and they've kind of fallen off the map a little bit here, Nick.
Yeah, they're a shell of their former selves from a year ago. They got to the national championship. They were the 8th seed, so they didn't have a stellar regular season, but they still got to the national championship. I mean, that's pretty good.
Incredible.
The second best team in the country at the end of the year. Yeah, you can make excuses for all 3 losses. Iowa State, they have a good chance of making the tournament. I think they're 6-0. I'm looking at the KenPom right now. Yes, they're 6-1. But still, that's a halfway decent team. Still, upper level Big 12 squad. And then they lost to Alabama in 4 overtimes. At that point, like when I saw it, they dropped to 18. I was like, "Are you kidding me, man?" Because at that point, that's a tie in American sports. 4 overtimes, really?
Right, but that was 2 losses in a row.
Yeah.
So that's if it was just the Alabama game, I'd say maybe they stay in the top 10. But when you lose 2 in a row and Iowa State wasn't ranked,
and then Indiana. I mean, Indiana's the real deal. They're 8th in the KenPom. They're 7-0. They're a top 10 team for sure. And you can't go into Hoosier Land, and that's I think one of the toughest environments to play. It's a massive arena. First off, it fits a bazillion people, but they're all on top of you. The way that building's built, so that is such a tough environment to win in. You see a lot of great teams go to die there. So I mean, all 3 of those losses. I mean, the Iowa State's probably the worst loss. Mm-hmm. But the Alabama one, come on, 4 overtimes. And Alabama's good. They're top 10 in the or top 15 in the KenPom, and it's I don't know. It just sucks that we don't get to see a number 1 North Carolina roll into Tech. But hey, it is what it is. And now the scariest part for Virginia Tech fans is that North Carolina doesn't want to lose 4 games in a row, and North Carolina fans don't expect their team to lose 4 games in a row. So they're not going to want to lose this game at all.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Iowa State now is ranked 23rd in the country. So all 3 losses for the Tar Heels are to AP top 25 teams. So in some ways you can tip your cap. Very, very unexpected to see them, though, drop 3 straight. 3 o'clock tip-off. It's going to be on the ACC network here on Sunday. It's an orange-out game, so be sure to wear your orange Hokie apparel. Nick, let's talk about this Virginia Tech team first and break down some of the stats here. Sean Padula has been an absolute stud, averaging 17 points a game. He's also shooting the ball at 51% from the field, 37% from beyond the arc. You can't really ask for more out of your starting point guard.
Nah, he's the real freaking deal, man. I mean, only 5 points a game, I think, last year, but he didn't play,
right.
And then the last 10 games this season, I think he was averaging over 8 or 9 or something like that, floating around that range. He's the real deal. Man is so calm and collected throughout the games, and he's just he's fun to watch. I mean, he is electrifying, and it's really something. Storm Murphy, I know he attacked the paint, but before that, we had Wabisa Beatty, and Beatty, good defender, good assist man, but he did not attack the paint. Padula is probably the best driving point guard Virginia Tech has had since Justin Robinson. And before that, Eric Green and Malcolm Delaney. So it's been, Seth Allen was pretty good too. But he's fearless. I mean, he's listed as 6'1", but he doesn't look 6'1" in person.
No. But he's put on some serious muscle.
Oh, he is jacked. Don't get me wrong. I'm 5'7", and I look at him, I'm like, dude, you are not 6 inches taller than me. Sorry, but you're just not. But he is fearless. He'll go in there, and when he gets a big to switch on him, that is the most fun because he can put those guys on skates and has them looking anywhere. So, he's awesome, and I would think he would happen to stay in the next 2 years, barring any other circumstances. If he stays next 2 years, this dude's going to be a superstar.
Grant Basile and Hunter Couture both shooting north of 42% from beyond the arc. You can't ask for more in that department either. I mean, you got two guys shooting the ball that well from, and it's not like these are small sample sizes to go by either. They're shooting in a plentiful supply.
Yeah, Basile's attempted the most threes on the team, and he's knocking home over 40%, and he's what, 6'7", 6'8"? I mean, he's awesome. And I was really impressed against Minnesota. He was horrible on defense against Charleston Southern. I'm sorry, it was not good. And he really turned it around, got 4 blocks, had an
impressive blocks.
One really insane rejection where he turned away a 2-hand stuff. So that was good. And, it's weird because he hasn't played well all season, but he averages about 2 blocks a game. And that's because he's really good at recovery. And Mike Young has pointed it out. He's not the best on-ball defender, but he is really good helping inside. So if someone beats their man, he's there to the block to help with them. And if he gets beat, he is really good at recovering and sending that thing off the backboard or just catching up and stopping him. So, he's got strengths and weaknesses, and he still has to work on a lot of stuff on defensive side, but I was really proud of him, and is his best rebounding performance since the second and first game of the year.
How about this North Carolina Tar Heels team? Still loaded with talent. Like we said, this is a team that played for a national championship a year ago, and it's pretty much the same exact team with the addition of Pete Nance for the most part. Armando Bacot averaging a double-double, 16 points and 11 rebounds. What else is new? Caleb Love, leading scorer with 19 points. This team is shooting the ball at 45% from the field, 30% from beyond the arc, so numbers not as good as Tech in that regard, but this team is very, very loaded. They are the 3rd best offense statistically in the ACC, averaging 80 points a game. Tech is 4th, one step below, but averaging a whole 4 points last at 76.8 points per game. The one thing that separates these two teams, and this is very interesting to me, Virginia Tech is the 4th best defense in the conference, averaging 64 points a game allowed. On the other side, North Carolina is 2nd to worst. The only team worse than them is Florida State, 15th in the conference. North Carolina is 14th. They're averaging 75 points per game.
And let's look at some of these
allowed.
Let's look at some of these teams they've given up points to. They gave up 81 to Portland, 64 to James Madison, 66 to Gardner-Webb. Okay. 86 to College of Charleston, which they won 102 to 86. That's insane. A track meet. And they gave up 56 to UNC Wilmington, still good. But they have not blown anybody out of the water. I mean, besides College of Charleston, they have not dominated. Gardner-Webb had the lead late in the second half.
College of Charleston was very much in that game.
College of Charleston, with about 8 minutes to go, was leading. Portland was up the majority of that game. So that's, it also helps, when you give up when you also give up 101 points. But yeah, this defense isn't good, and their offense, man, it's struggling. Like, yes, they put up points, but I think it's so much ISO ball. When you watch it, it's just a lot of guys just going one-on-one. They are 205th in the country in assist to turnover ratio, and this is really bad. If you average under 1 assist per turnover, that means you're averaging more turnovers than you are assists. They're averaging a 0.97 ratio. That is not good. In comparison, your Hokies, Virginia Tech, is near the top in the country in the best assist to turnover ratio at number 9, averaging 1.65, almost a whole point or one more assist ahead of them. And then their assist numbers too are bad. 302nd in assist per games at 11.4. Wow. 302nd. So they don't pass well. Meanwhile, Virginia Tech, if I can pull it up, they were up there too, and then they dropped it because they didn't do a lot of assists against Minnesota. But point is, Virginia Tech and North Carolina are not similar at all when it comes to, Virginia Tech sitting at 100 something, but 14.6, like it's 3 or 4 more assists per turnovers. So per assist over North Carolina per game. So point is, North Carolina does not pass the ball. It's a lot of ISO. And if you shut down Caleb Love, RJ Davis, and Baycott, you're going to win. I mean, it's that simple. And like, that's tall tasks, but they have no bench, really hardly any bench. And Baycott, he was in and out of the Indiana game with a shoulder injury, really banged up. RJ Davis and Caleb Love just shooting very poorly from the field. So I don't know what happened in the offseason. I'm going to be honest with you. Right. I really don't know how North Carolina last year was a really fun team to watch, great team, and now all of a sudden they are just ISO ball, no passing, jacking up, terrible shots. I mean, I don't know. Well, the Vegas odds are not out yet as far as the betting spread, so you can't necessarily say that Tech is favored at home in front of a sellout crowd, but ESPN's metrics say that they have a 56.3% chance to win. It was at 65. Yes, so they are predicting Virginia Tech to win this game as far as ESPN goes. Nick, your final thoughts on this game as we wrap things up, and let's get a score prediction from you as well. Just wear orange. Be loud. It'll be a fun game. I mean, it'll be back and forth. You're going to see a lot of star power, possibly a lot of NBA players. So go ahead and see it. I mean, North Carolina, they're always going to have NBA players. So if you can get a ticket, go for it, man. And the football players, of course, too. I think North Carolina wins. I'm not going to lie. They're not going to lose 4 straight. And I love Virginia Tech, and I really hope they win, but I just don't think Hubert Davis is going to allow them to lose 4 straight games. I think they get an 8-point win. Something like that, probably 74. I hate doing exact scores in basketball, like 74-66 is just a guess, but I think they win by 8. I'm so torn on this one. Honestly, I would rather have UNC won like against Indiana or something, because then I actually would have thought Tech, like the whole 3 straight losses, it's like there's no way they lose a 4. Law of averages, what Chris Coleman says. So I'll defy the law of averages, though. I still think things aren't clicking. I think when they do click, it'll be in front of a UNC home crowd. Hard to get things to click on the road in front of a hostile crowd. I'll say Tech wins it. In order to do it, they're going to have one of their better days shooting the ball, though, which Tech has not done the last couple of games against lesser quality opponents. I'll say Tech wins it 75-73. 2-point win for Tech. Just how I'm feeling, but anyways, let's step aside. When we come back, some crazy stuff on women's basketball. You're not going to believe what happened last night. One of the greatest individual performances in program history. Coming up after the break.